Hello, beautiful people, wherever you are, welcome back. Today we have just woke up with much of the breaking news here and there. And I talk about yesterday. I don't know if that's why I've just talked about the video. Now much of the people are compiling to talk about, again to condolences. I've received much of the condolences from the congrats dad and the congrats mom in the house to make sure that they're just are giving the condolences back to the regime here and making sure that we are just performing this kind of the way forward. I don't know if it's a trick of making sure they're going to be silencing Gintu, but the good fact is the truth will be just prevailing. I'm just been told that, imagine, Amaro was telling my brother that, tell Gintu to go slowly with this kind of the things. You know, this kind of the things are bigger than him. So... Oh my God, yeah. So the good fact is I'm not feeling califragistically good right now, but I have to give this kind of the content coming out because much of the people have missed this kind of the session and they're going to be handled very fantastic. I just remember the Condad talk about the congrats dad and the congrats mom. They ever came to my home here talking about they're going to be getting much of the milk, much of the cows purchaser and much more because they know my father as a real farmer. And even right now, whenever you go to the congrats dad and ask about whom do you honor as a farmer, he will ever tell you that he knows one person called Patrick Sigano, who is Patrick Sigano Ikombe, who is the legend of agriculture in this kind of the village. And also, much of the people are coming to get information, much of the people are coming to get knowledge and learn, get on and on and on. And that was a very fantastic. So I talk about condolences to my father also. It has been received from the villa one-on-one. And I talk about even Amaro himself talked about condolences to the mzee, because there's a time I talked about my father went and talked about this, and this here is just the boundary. So continue their own work and just left. So it was a one-on-one also. It's like me, like legend. So it's always talking about it's this and this and this. I'm just going. So that's the good fact about it. So I talk about thank you very much. Every condolences is just received here, and I understand because we're gonna be having a problem. Much of the people talk about this kind of the person has just died. We're gonna be needing talk about a WhatsApp a team to be created. I don't know whatever and whatever. Nobody's just proposing such kind of a thing, and I talk about that's the way of knowing that how are we and how we're going to be making it happen. It's just a way of mouth, because whenever they're going to be talking about Gintu, the contribution to Gintu's father burial ceremony, it's going to be bringing much of the chaos from other supporters. But that is nature. We understand how the things are coming. But the good thing is they are with us, and I've just talked about we have to get forward. Whatever I always talk about is I'm just giving out the correct verdicts that are always coming out and evolving, because Gintu can never come to squanchalize much of the talks that I'm talking about ABCD here. But I think it's not a silence form to make sure that they're going to be silencing me. But much of the people talk about, Gintu, did you greet them? No. They were just talking as far as everything was in concern. I was on top of the G Castle. I started feeling not good yesterday, but things are just happening. I know it's much of the mosquitoes staying at night, because you can never leave much of the condolences sitting there the whole night and you are just sleeping. So I have to accompany them to make sure that even the family member is just part of them. Not only much of the people are coming from outside. So that is the good fact that I always talk about. Let's get forward with it. And much of the people condoling with my parents. Talk about all the YouTubers. Robi Chacha. Talk about Priska Sagati. Thank you very much. Talk about Fellow the Boy. Recently talked about thank you very much. He never knew my father, because I have a sister whom they ever learned with. So he was thinking about the father to my stepsister is like the brother to my father. So he never knew that he was my father also, because my father has 2 homes here and the other side 2 kilometers. So it was a little bit defecting much of the people. And much of the people, they have known this kind of the way of getting forward. I understand. We have much of the people just sending much of the condolences from every kind of the pointer, and also from the YouTube platform, from the comment section. I understand that it's a way of us to get forward. And despite this kind of the sarcasm challenges that we're going to be facing, it's like a liver stream. You have to get this kind of the challenges. But it's just a guarantee that we understand whenever somebody is coming to the burial ceremony, sometimes we should be very punctual, understanding that even if a person comes to the burial ceremony talking about, I condole with your family, and want to greet me. Sometimes I always talk about some people, they're not coming for the entire, talk about maybe the condolences platform. They came with the other sources of, talk about cornering things. So as you can just make sure they're getting you very fun. They know that the only point they can just get into is when they can just arrive to the barrio here. So that sometimes that's why you see I'm always getting out to go and bring much of the content. And yesterday I just here Amaro was talking about I like Gintu the way he is, and I like the hospitality, and he's the one who is the very fantastic YouTubers who are just making sure that everything is coming out. And he was telling this kind of the boys that he was working, and I was there yesterday to make sure that I'm just getting much of the things. He was just talking whenever he saw me. He was frightened a little bit, but he understand. He was telling them that I ever loved this kind of the boy. It's because of the congrats dad and the congrats mom. They did this and whatever they did so as they can just corner me and talk about in false information out that just terminated much of the things. You understand, whenever your parents, they don't know, they don't want you. Who are you as a son or a daughter to talk about ABCD? I always honor the dignity and talk about that is the phrase to get forward. And they know that I'm just a straightforward. Even them, they know. Whenever I'm attacking them, whenever I'm elevating, whenever I'm diving into this kind of the information, they know that Gintu is always giving out the authentic information one on, and I don't fear. I have to bring everything from the grassroots, from the ground, to make sure that we are ever honored and ever getting forward to this kind of the custom of the time. So I appreciate much of the moment. Let's get to the real point, but I'm just going to be getting back to sleep a little bit. Whenever I'm going to be waking up, I'm going to be continuing with this kind of the video coming out. I'm just feeling, pray for me guys, because I'm going to be having a little bit of a problem east, west and south here because of the dizziness and the situation, how it came to by fault into my mind, because I just recognize and talk about, oh, it's like yesterday, much of the people crying east, west and south, always mentorizing my own mentality to talk about, I'm just saying like it's yesterday my father died. But I have to pump myself, I have to be strong, because I'm the human being who is very strong enough, the only man, the only army man standing. Unsuman always talk about that kind of a word, that the only man standing. It's underscore Gintu. And support, subscribe, like, share, comment, so you can just groove together as a team. I'll just admit to talk about we have to get forward to this kind of the moment. Keep it tuned, keep it locked. Much of the thing will be coming to you right now. Hello beautiful people, wherever you are, welcome back. Today I'm just going to be starting this kind of the video from my home here, but I'm feeling so dizzy because of sleepless nights here and there, because how can a person come to condole you and you are the one sleeping? So they have to sleep too, and you have either to wake up and just join the group so they can just make it happen. It has been a long way, and also it has been a cracker too of the moment having this kind of the condition. It's just unexpected, but we have to accept the repercussion that has just gathered so we can just move together as a team. That is what is always coming out from this kind of the lecturement of this kind of the possibility of making it happen. So as far as everything is in concern, we are just on the 8th day of making sure that we're going to be celebrating the late Mzee Sigano here a little bit to make sure that everything's so fantastic. I think the field is prepared very fantastic here, and they have collected much of the litter system to make sure that it's going to be burnt where necessary, and some of them, they have been heaped there at the grass, talk about the napier grass there, to make sure that the field is going to be looking so authentic and very fantastic, to make sure we're going to be having this kind of the moment getting forward. So as far as everything is in concern, we talk about, thank you much for everyone who's been condoling with us and also supporting us in any kind of the manner, and talk about some of them. I've talked about Ogintu condolences, sending much of the rice. Thank you very much whoever's talked about Ogintu buy much of the rice, because people are going to be eating rice, and my father was an aged person, so much of the people are going to be coming here, they're aged, so they're going to be given such kind of a moment to celebrate with us and be getting much of the food. Much of the people are visitors. We have to accept that we have this kind of the movement, so as we can protrude and get this kind of the way getting forward. So to all the people who are just condoling with me, and much of the YouTubers also, but we never had to create a team, talk about I don't know why much of the people, whenever it got to other people, that's how you have seen the legitimate way of getting forward, because I want to be speaking this as a truth, because if it could be another person talking about ABCD, you could have seen talk about already a group is created, much of the people democratizing, oh, support. But the good fact is Gintu has very big fans here to make sure that we're going to be happening as far as everything is concerned. I always come to your able hands and talk about pray for us. This is just a very crazy moment, but we're going to be making it happen. So as far as everything is concerned, let's get forward, because we have dipped our hands in it and talk about we have just got the moment of just removing much of the clothes, and we have much of the water in front of us. So it's our aim to make sure that we're going to be showering to make it happen. So I'm just rotating around to make sure that everything is just okay, but my head is so thick right now, and even thinking capacity has been going low because of the sleepless. Even right now you can even see my eyes are looking like characteristically not controlled. I have the dogs here. The security pattern is good, and this time around I think they're just celebrating. You know, some dogs here, and it has to come to hibernate here. I don't know if it's hibernation or starvation. So it has to sleep in water to make sure that it's cooling the body. You understand the work of water is to cool the body temperature. So it's cooling the temperature outwards. So that is the nature. But as far as everything is concerned, I've ever been giving you much of the impromptus. Talk about the video coming like safari rally every east, west, and south. But what I can just assure you is the video gonna be coming. I heard much of the people talking about, oh, Gintu, why are you not talking about the burial ceremony, about your father here? I ever told much of the people that the life has to continue. It will never be in a way that now my dad has just died, so we have not to work, so as we can just sit, relax, and then what's gonna be coming on? We have to continue. There's a time I said, even if Gintu gonna be there or not, the life will continue. That is the life we have, and they have to go down as others are just evolving. The good thing is, I think the same day just left us, we have much of the people who ever could talk about the new born feeders who they came to this kind of the world to join us and make it happen. That is the good moment and the good possibility of us to get forward. And also I'm going to be talking about yesterday I just dreamt in I drowned in the scenario that has brought much of the Krakatu onto the platform, talking about the auction of the land. Talk about much of the people have taken it as a granted situation, so they're going to be tempering and contemptuously undermining the effort that is just being placed to make sure that everything is just not going good at this kind of the rate. So by the good fact is we have to go forward. There's no much of talking about, oh, we're going to be landed with much of the introversy, maybe such kind of the post-quoms, maybe the interquoms. No. The good fact is we have to get it forward. And also, Safi, I'm going to be dreaming and dreaming in to the scenario that happened recently, talking about this kind of the guys that is my brother, who is just now a senior bachelor, my friend there, Maro. So they have just made the terrible things onto the village, and I know they might be talking about, oh, Gintu, I'm gonna be looking for you east, west, and south here. Mro, ulikuwaje?
Unajua Gintu?
Ema.
Mimi nilikuwa nimekutafuta awali. Kwa nataka nipe support fulani hivi.
Support. Support kama gani?
Unajua sasa hivi nina channel.
Kuna channel.
Lakini bado
zima muziki.
Ni video tu.
I have a guy here who's just following me here. I want to know what's really happening, because how are you, man?
I'm doing well.
Everything is good.
Yep.
So you are looking not awesome good, man. What's the problem?
I just came from the market, and the thing I was looking for is actually nowhere to be found. So I came.
Which kind of the thing were you looking for?
Like the tomatoes, the onions.
Where now? At my home there's oranges.
No, the market up there.
Oh, the market up there.
Yep.
So you are coming from there. So there's no tomatoes and oranges?
Nah.
How sure are you the whole market doesn't have tomatoes and oranges?
Man, I've been there the whole day.
Yeah, the whole day.
Yeah.
So where are you heading to? And you have some sugar here?
I'm running to a certain place. Well, it's not really...
it's confidential?
I mean, yes.
It's confidential.
Yes.
So right now you have said you have a YouTube channel. What's your name now? How do you call yourself?
Like my real name, the channel name?
No, the channel name.
Vicky.
Vicky.
Like we could just say Vicky.
Vicky. Vicky who?
Vicky Sketch.
Vicky Sketch. That's your name?
Yeah, so
if
you could read that.
Yeah, it's Vicky Sketch. It's there. I've seen it, man. Yeah, so right now, that's what is the content now you're gonna be bringing out?
We're dealing with arts.
Arts.
dealing with craft, design.
So you can draw me.
Of course.
Draw me, then give me that portrait. Then I'll just make sure that everything gonna be coming too good.
Like
How much?
Could I just keep your picture?
Okay,
Just
you
one.
you want to picture me here?
Yeah,
Okay,
just
picture
one.
me then. Picture me one. So guys, I'm gonna be big pictured here to make sure that you're gonna be drawing me.
Just one.
Yeah, man. Just one, man. Yeah, but today the mood is not mooding here, but you have to understand, it's due to unconditional circumstances that is just behind the scenario here. So you call yourself Vicky Sketch, and the people should support you to make it happen. What's the challenges that you just facing at this kind of the rate moment?
You know, at first, the idea of being a YouTuber is not. You see, like coming from this kind of village, this kind of. You know, it takes time for you to know what internet is, what YouTube is, and how to even type or even respond to the feedback you're going to receive from whoever is watching or supporting you. So it takes time to an extent that even by the time you're getting to the extent you want to provide, it's really, really, really too long. So what happened, I went to school first.
You went to school?
Yes, I did an engineering course.
An engineering course?
Yeah.
In the university?
Of course.
Which university, man?
A university called Technical University.
Technical University in Nairobi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now you took a course called
Geospace.
Geospace.
Geospace engineering.
Geospace engineering.
Yeah.
So did you finish the everything, man? Semesters?
Yeah.
You finished?
Yeah.
So you're a graduate?
Yes.
Okay.
So what thing happened?
First class, second, third?
Second class.
Second class.
Yep.
Okay. So right now, so why are you not in the engineering platform, or the art is part of the engineering art?
So here's the thing. I did a project based on soil. Soil. Okay, let's just say soil erosion.
Soil erosion.
Yeah, soil erosion. So I did very well, and I liked it.
What do you, whenever you are talking about soil erosion, what do you mean by soil erosion? Getting what's formed by gully erosion, splash erosion, and such kind, and etc. Or which kind of soil erosion are you talking about here? Excavation, human interference. Which kind of soil erosion are you talking about? The agents?
Of course, we're talking about fishing, mining, afforestation. Yes, all those, and farming.
And farming also.
Okay.
So you did well about it. So that was your project.
That's my project.
Okay. So right now, so why are you not venturing into talk about the land, so they can just make sure they're going to be getting, if you have already a degree in terms of that one, so why can't you get a job? What's the problem?
How do I answer that? But of course there is an answer. So I'm thinking from the word go, I had this plan, had this dream of one day being a YouTuber.
No, why?
Not really, maybe, okay, you see, I could equally dance, I could equally sing, I could equally...
So you are multi-talented.
You see, I could do all those things. But again, looking at my surrounding and all that, I realized there's this village called... Is it Nyabuhansi village?
Nyabuhansi village.
So the thing is, those people, mmeingia YouTube mpaka mmenishtua.
Oh, you have ventured into YouTube and you are just left hanging.
Yeah, so I was trying to check around which content.
You're going to be venturing, which niche?
Yeah, so I realized art, design and all that is actually behind.
You can do it because
I picked it.
Let me tell you one thing.
See? I picked that. So that's why I'm showing this channel right now, so that anybody now thinking of anything around art, design, modeling, mapping and stuff could connect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the good idea about that one. So guys, you have heard about whenever you're gonna be letting your sketch, send me a photo, I send it to him, and you're gonna be sketched. Very fantastic. And you can draw cartoons.
I've actually done so many categories of art. I've done school. You see, school is basically maybe the human body, plainly, like maybe just the skeleton part of it. So I've done that. I've done tune. as cartoon. I've done cars. I've also done which other thing? Girls, boys, men, and all those. I've done all those in all my
So right now, which problem do you encounter as you are an artist? Problem that you are facing. Like right now, whenever I tell you that go and draw me, you have picturized me, then you want to be starting to draw. What's the challenges do you face whenever you start to sketch?
One, time.
It's time consuming.
See, it's this. See, looking around, maybe right now is close to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
It's already late, but could try 1 or 2 hours. But again, I'm not sure if that's the best copy I could get. So again, I'm gonna have to try maybe another day, maybe tomorrow. Or the
Yeah,
other
to sketch
day.
another one.
So maybe that could
So you
cost
can
me
comprise.
a week or something.
Okay.
Yep. And another thing, it depends. How do you want it? Do you want it uploaded to the channel? Do you want a hard copy? So
I
again,
need a head copy.
yeah, all
And I
those.
put it in a portrait.
Yeah.
And design that kind of a portrait in a manner that it will just give you an authentic talk about an authentic product,
Yeah.
which is a finished one. So the good fact is, guys, we have just been getting this kind of from Vicky sketch here, was just following me a little bit here. So he has just got much of the point to elevate out and talk about. He's just a person to make it happen. So everything is so fantastic here. So are you heading home, bro?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna be meeting tomorrow, man. Tomorrow we're gonna be having the fundraising, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no problem. We're gonna be checking so they can just know. Have people democratized onto your channel a little bit to support you, man. I know how things gonna be coming, yeah? So already you have got a platform already from me here, and it's gonna be very fantastic for you to go, eh? Exactly. So guys, I'm gonna be checking much of the 2-3 things here that are just following the pathway right now, and I'm just heading to the route here a little bit today. I've talked about it was not a full occupied space of me to come out because I'm like having malaria. I'm just deposited with the much of the dizziness, talk about fatigue also, and much of the joints pain. So I'm gonna be making sure that everything is so fantastic here. So we're gonna be making it happen at this kind of the time, and the good thing is keep on supporting, keep us vibing, and let's get forward, because this is our time to make it happen, because we shall be we to make it happen as we are we. But guys, the little thing I can just tell you about the boys a little bit that I was just following me a little bit step by step, but is talk about mentally a little bit ill in a way that he studied until things vaporized. So you have to understand that he was a graduate, a very good engineer, but he has this kind of a problem. You see the reaction, I was just reacting a little bit here and there, so he can just keep you updated that he's a person who has been passing through more. Even the parents have just died, and maybe psychologically he was being tortured psychologically from that kind of a way. And he was in a university. He was a very bright student who went with an airplane to the university, and he just took the geotherm and how understand geo around what and soil erosions and everything there. So he just took such kind of the courses, and in the engineering was the biggest course. You know, he dropped from a civil engineering, he went to geotherm, I don't know geo what he was talking about. So everything is so fantastic. We understand is not the normality is not there. I don't know why, but we have to understand that we have them. And if I could not give him this kind of the platform to talk, he came to my home to look for me, to advertise his own channel. So guys, you can just go there 2 or 3 people. So you cannot come again tomorrow and tell me that you helped me with nothing. So you have to understand how it comes. So we have to go forward. So guys, as far as everything is in concern, we have to understand the strategy. Already our bananas are just drying here, but the good fact is much of the people should understand that whenever this kind of the bananas, they're just direction, they're giving out the direction on where the burial ceremony is. You can see another one is there, and it will just dictate that we're going to be having this kind of the good time to share and make it happen, because it's giving the direction. Whenever going to be dry, we're going to have been finishing, because every time whenever this kind of the banana going to dry, it means that we have finished the burial ceremony. Now it will just be removed there whenever we have talk about the after 5 days, talk about a man is given 5 days, people gonna be there and mourning still for more 5 days are coming. The mother is 4 days mourning after the burial. So they're going to be now removed from that kind of a space because they're now resembling something which is very authentic, and nobody can just get them out from that kind of the area. So the good fact is here in the village we are having much of the people who are having problems. Talk about like that guy is called Vicky. He was ahead of me. I think it was two classes, and I was a very bright student at that kind of the time, but too much of liquor, too much of a bang, and too much of illicit illegal stuff, talk about alcohol and much more, has just defected him a little bit, the brain category. So even he can just come and rap and do whatever necessary. He can squat, he can even remove the trouser. So we have to understand such kind of the people. They talk about a PhD, and to me is just a PhD guy, no more education ahead, because he was pursuing very fantastic. It's maybe we can talk about it's much of the people who don't want the progress, because he was the only son who was learned. The others were just looking forward for him to learn, but right now is just acting non-perpendicular, because he finished his own and he graduated with the second class. But why is he not in job? He's just loitering around, which is the probability talking about. It's not a problem, but it's a way of talking about we should be so keen whenever we are just outside here. That's the fact. But the good fact is we have already elaborated much of the things, how they come, how they go, we are just scrambling life to make sure that we are progressing very gently and very, very fantastic. So at this kind of the right time, I appreciate much of the effort. If you want to be supporting Gintu, because tomorrow we're going to be having the fundraising day, which is are going to be coming so fantastic here, and we have already arranged everything is just set aside to make sure they're going to be heading out with those kind of the fundraising, which is going to be happening tomorrow on Saturday, to make sure that we're going to be having much of the people demobilizing, so as we can just get forward at this kind of the time. So that is the little fact that we're going to be bringing out. If you want to be supporting Gintu, so that just the fundraising can just go up, because you understand we have also Sigano is admiring to go back to school and do much of the studies east, west and south, to make sure that everything is just happening very much good. That is the good fact that we need. So whenever we're going to be supporting Gintu, I understand I was the one who was left to make sure that Sigano goes back to school, and I'm the one heading that kind of the department, because my dad left me in terms of that one. So I was the one who was I've just talked about, I was the one who was the last person with him, and making sure that everything is so fantastic. So guys, I appreciate whenever we're going to be democalizing, you can just use Samson Gintu Sigano as talk about +2547 0049 0047. Whatever small it can just get us to move. Also have much of the friends who are always coming, they need a little bit of something for them to eat, a little bit, and make sure that everything is moving so fantastic. So even you're going to be getting to that kind of time, I will just honor the dignity and say that that is the way we have to go forward. And I'll just appreciate and talk about thank you very much, because it's not an easy way for us to go to an extent of that one. So dogs here, they have where water collection is, and I can just remember at the start of the video the dog was sleeping inside here. It is here, so it's always leisuring and making sure that I like the nature. That's good, and I like the nature, and also I like pets much, so that's why the dogs like me and they can just cherish. But I'm just feeling so hot right now, guys, and it's because of I think I'm sick by now. It's because of this kind of the reaction. Talk about how it goes. It's very sad. It's so sometimes whenever you see Gintu going to do much of the videos outside, I'm trying to get out of my home so as I can just frame out my mind, because every time whenever I just I'm at home, people coming crying, so it creates one of something to my body, and lures me like I could just cry also, because I see that since Friday my dad passed on. It seems like him just seeing it like yesterday, it happened yesterday. So it's something that is luring me to talk about. It's something which is so affectious to me whenever much of the people come and crying here and west, so it affects me muchly. So I always talk about about, let me go out and avenge a little bit. So I'm going to be talking about, there's somebody who sent me money, so as I can just make sure that I'm supporting Godi. Please, just excuse me a little bit here because of the compilement of the work, and talk about the busy moment of me here at home. And I'm going to be going there. It's just much of the things that you sent me to go and buy. I still have that kind of the money, but getting the point, I will never go there and give them the money. No, they'll never do anything. I understand how the African people behave. So that will be a propagation of talking about, I will have just put that kind of water, money into water, so it will just drown, and talk about going to be tearing itself out. So let me look for a specific moment so that I can just go there and support them. Because yesterday you saw David Jr. talking about A, B, C, D, lavish things, East, West, and South. That's just the real, a common communicable way of talking about they are just deceased in a manner that they're going to be having a problem. Talking about they're going to be taking over the game. Talk about getting people, reshuffling much of the people from their ancestral land, which is very, very pathetic and very absolutely bad in terms of that kind of the consignment of the time. So as far as everything is concerned, Gintu going to be sticking on it, because I have still much of the videos to come and much of the proofs. I have heard much of the people talking about, oh, Gintu are going to be helping this kind of the boys to fence their lands, to make sure that they're going to not be subjected to this kind of the quagmire, the problem that is just facing this kind of the ultimate time of now. But the good fact is I have still 1 or 2 videos coming that are going to be venturing and diving into the real matter, the real conscience matter, so you can just know who has that number, who specifically is included in this kind of the saga, is the Condad part of the game or the Condad part of the program, because I understand that things are just a cogmirization or cogmianized in a way that we are just being pushed behind, so as other things can just happen. Right now they know that Gintu as an activist is on it to make sure that I'm going to be elaborating everything to come out clean and very fantastic. I like wherever the cleanness is, so you can just make sure that we are clearing much of the rumors and everything going to be straight forward. And this week it has been of much of the burial, and also I talk about the grandmother to Chef Matiko also has died and passed on, and we are just sympathizing this kind of the deaths right now in the same village, because me and talk about Chef Matiko's home where the mother came from, we are just of the same village here. So we are just having this kind of a problem, and it's just some 2 days. Talk about on Monday we had a burial ceremony, on Tuesday we had a burial ceremony around the village also, and again we have my father, again we have the grandmother to Chef Matiko. So we are having this kind of the problems, but we talk about it's God who selects who to live at this kind of the time and how it's gonna be happening at this kind of the rate. So keep it tuned, keep it locked. I'm gonna be informing much of the things gonna be coming to you live, which is one-on-one. Support Gintu, even if you have $1, $2, support Gintu, as well as you can just have this kind of the moment getting forward and laying Mr. Sigano Patrick in a well maintained position. Keep it tuned. Hello beautiful people, wherever you are, welcome back. It's underscore Gintu, and much of the people are waiting for this kind of the video to democratize here one-on-one. Guys, today I'm not feeling good. I don't know if I'm witched already, I don't know, but things gonna be getting so dizzy here, and I don't know if it's my brain has been mentally captured, I don't know, but the good fact is we have to get forward. So right now I'm just receiving much of the calls from the con mom, and also I was speaking to coming to the burial here, talk about the area. I can just talk about my father was the supplier of them, making sure that we're going to be supplying much of the milk, including into, and not exclusively getting out. No, I was part of the program, and I can just remember Maro even was a little bit smaller boy also. So at that kind of the time I just honor the dignity and talk about they have come to honor them. Even if I'm not hand in hand with you, don't talk about, oh, I'll not go there because of A, B, C, D. Hello? Uninkande. Uninkande. Oh, shopping Karenkore. To prevail up to date, because he is the one who has made this kind of the moment to happen, even us to be appearing at this kind of the moment here. So the field is now prepared. I think it has been raining cats and dogs to make sure that everything's so good. We talk about the Almighty God is giving us this kind of the blessings again to make sure that everything is getting forward and forward and forward every time that we're going to be coming. So right now I want to be making sure that we're just supervising 2-3 things here. Right now everything is now settled, and already we can just hear much of the music is coming from around, to make sure that even if you see much of the music coming, it means that now everybody has acknowledged that it has happened. So it's just us to get forward and make it happen, because if we don't relate and talk about we're gonna be understanding that is the nature, that's how it's gonna be, we will be losing it at this kind of the moment. That's why I talk about we have to get forward at this kind of the moment. So as far as everything, you have already understood that it has happened, so everybody has to understand it. So this is the way of us to talk about this is the best moment for us to go forward. And also I'm being receiving much of the condolences from the entire people. Talk about every kind of the square, to make sure that they're gonna be wishing Mr. or talk about Mzee Sigano very a good way whenever we're going to be prospering to internal peace, to make sure that you're going to be part of the team. I can just remember he was one of the peacekeepers ever, because and also he was a very good person. Whenever we want to talk about, we want to be going for the marriage, the spokesperson, my father was the best. So right now we're going to be having so many people arriving here to make sure they're going to be condoling with the family, and also much of the people are no longer still understanding that is it real, because he was a man of people, and the way you can just hear Gintu speaking here, he was the same way. He was speaking a lot, and he was making things to happen as far as everything is in concern. So the legacy has to prevail, and also everything has to prevail. But he has left the legacy behind. Talk about he has taken us from the grassroots to where we have just reached at this kind of the moment. I appreciate that kind of the way, because it's not easy. There are much of the people who have ever found that maybe they came to know themselves, where the father or the mother, they are totally orphan. So for us, it's gonna be the best way that we just grew up with a very honest man who ever talked about everybody should be privileged. The good fact is much of the people talk about Gintu, how you ever separated, everything is just equal. Everything at the ground is equal. Everything is very fantastic at the ground. Talk about talk about the boundaries and everything. My father, before he could just leave, he was a person who can just foretell and the fortune teller. And hey, mambo iko sawa? Tumbiri ziko namna gani? Zimeenda. So he's the one who my father left here to make sure that you're going to be chasing much of, we can call them the monkeys. And I'm just the one who are going to be making sure that we're going to be sorting it out. I'm the one handling this kind of the small issues down the grass here, to make sure that everything is going very fantastic. Because whenever you're going to be telling me that, oh, you're going to be the one who's going to be taking care of all of this kind of the land. Talk about whenever you're going to be having this kind of the monkeys are going to be chasing them out from the area, but have to be sorted per month. So that is the way we have to get forward. So much of the things that were being done at my home here, I was able to understand them, and also I was the one who was at the ground. I was the only son who was at the ground. Much of the ground I was there, because since I just left much of the employment work, then I employed myself in terms of this YouTube, and I support much of the people ever supporting Gintu to make it happen, because it's not so easy for a person to talk about I want to be on my own and make much of my own things to come out. That is the best moment ever possible. So I really appreciate this kind of the way of getting forward, and I talk about this is the way of us to go forward much every time. So as far as we're going to be sorting out this kind of the small issues, talk about the land and something. Sometimes you can get that the fathers can just die, and get that you have not yet even get the boundaries, of not got anything. So it will become a chaos, and also it becomes like the way my father was having two of the wives here. It could be a problem that, oh, they had the home, they had the wife, they had the what, the two brothers there, Paron or something like that. It will bring much of the grudges and talk about, oh, well, my father was around, it has never happened. And I think he have ever solidarized everything down the ground, and everything was just getting on. And whenever we're going to be having now the burial ceremony, everybody will be told that this is the portion, and this is where you should belong, and this is how it was prepared. Like you can even see there's is a highway here that is a very permanent. No one should interfere with this kind of a road, making sure you're going to be getting to the downer area from this kind of an area. So the boundary is where this kind of the trees are. You can see that's the boundary that is just bounding, talk about the other home and our home to this side here. So nobody can just go about, oh, my father has prepared everything. Even the trees, I am the one who, I planted this kind of the trees, and he was the one who told me that, Gintu, I want you to plant. Whenever I was planting my trees up there, this kind of the, you can see that of the same size, the eucalyptus one. So I was the one who planted them here to make sure that everything gets forward very fantastic here. So that was the aim that he ever did, to make sure that there's no way again we can just have any kind of a fight. Do you understand this kind of the land Zaga? It can happen to family issues here and there. So he has ever done everything very fantastic. Everybody knows the portion. Everybody knows where you reach at which kind of the rate, and also where the road passes. Nobody should ever do any kind of intermediate talk about, oh, he has ever drawn everything. Even we have a map. That is the best. So whenever he has just gone, he has left nothing that has not been done. That is the best way we can talk about it. That is the best way we can just talk. And also, I can just remember because he was the one who oriented me to the fish farm. And whenever I constructed the fish pond, the first fish pond, he told me that, oh, Gintu, I will be the one to take care of it. Because I was still in the school during that time. It was in 2017. I was in school. And he told me that I will be the one who is controlling the fish farm, because he has done agricultural engineering. You understand? My father is a person who was employed as talk about how can we call it? He learned about agricultural engineering and economics, and during that kind of a history, because he graduated in 1978 from the colleges and everything there. So whenever he came, 1978 was the year was here, and he started agriculture, but he was employed for that kind of an year for only 6 months. Then he left the work and talked about, this is not the work for me to do. It was an Indian work. This kind of the companies from the Indians. So he talked about, no, I cannot do this kind of the work because I will be used. My brain is not to be used. I want to utilize my brain. And that's how he just left, because he was telling me that, oh, didn't you understand that when I married your mother, 1978, during the same year, 1978, he married my mother. Then he came back to, it talked about, I left my mom at home. During that time, our home was here. That's where my second brother is just living here. So this was the area that they migrated from here. Somebody's calling me. Hey, hello. Oh, arose sawa. I video bene ngotema tunga kama dakika 15 bene. Onga muda kidogo bene video bene ngotema ninche. So I have a great grandfather who is talk about my real grandmother, the brother to my real grandmother, called who was just the mother to my father. Now I have the father who is just here, who is the uncle to my dad. So he's the one who want me to get him to home, because I have the motorbike here, and also the car is there. Whenever you're gonna be having much of the people who are bulky, I'm gonna be using the car. It's always parked there, and for any kind of emergency purposes, you're gonna be holding much of the things. And also the motorbike is very easy to ride from this kind of the sides here, so everything gonna be helping where necessary it is. So the point was the way I was just talking about is when my father left my mother at home here, and my mother engaged in talk about the kales planting, talk about it was selling this kind of the small farms, talk about the kitchen garden, and it was selling during that time sukuma wiki, which is kales. Then during that time, you understand, the talk about the currency was so bad. So 1 shilling in Kenya shilling, 1 shilling was a very big money during that time, very big money. So when my father went and he came back for a short term leave, he came and found that my mother had bought talk about buckets in the home, has bought much of the basins, has bought very many things here, and through that kind of the kales. So when my father came and saw that why I am in Nairobi, I have not even come with anything like the way my mother has just, the wife has just brought here, he talked about I'm doing nothing. So when he went back and talked about why am I working, and when I come home, I found that my wife is 3 steps ahead of me. What am I doing here? He talked about I'm doing nothing, but I come back and I talk about I come to the shamba so as I can make it happen. So when he went back, he talked about he went and resigned the work and came back home to be a farmer in 1978 and started he talked about he supported my mother with a large farm of kales, and also he planted this is our area from that down area until the top of the hill there. So my mom, what my father did is he came and started cultivating cassava, beans, and also the maize, and supported my mother with the kales. So during that kind of the process, my mother was the one who was selling much of the kales to feed him also, because you cannot plant today maize and harvest it, and how can you come? So Sukuma Wiki talk about the kales was having a small cheap monies. Talk about the dairy assets, the dairy cheap monies here. So my mother was doing such kind of a way. So my father talked about even me I want to have a very large land, and during that time my grandfather was available during that time, and my grandfather talked about gave my father the portion that he was having as the backbone. Talk about the backbone land. So it was given, and my father talked about now what I want to do now. He cultivated a large area with kales, and I started talking about now these kales are so many. What am I going to do? He started supplying the kales to the schools. That was the best moment for him. Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Everything is good?
Yeah.
Hey, are you good, man?
I'm good.
Everything is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you are rushing, man. Any problem?
No problem. But
Yeah.
I'm just going to check out the program.
Oh, by the program. Okay, no problem. Everything is good, eh?
Yeah.
Exactly. So is Sigano there, and everything is so fantastic. Take care. We are having much of the moment. We are always supporting each other. So after that kind of the way, my father talked about now I'm gonna be looking for the school. So when my first born brother was in 1980. So whenever he was just born, I got that my father now was a very good farmer, and very many people. My father went to Kisii, where the Congress that came from. He came with a very good talk about the species of the kales called the much of the kales that are the good species that they use suckers to plant. So when my father went to Kisii and came back with those kind of the suckers, I talked about okay, he came and planted. It was the first one. Hey, Mama Koroboki. He was the first person to plant that kind of the kales in this kind of the region. So many people never knew it. So when he came and planted, it was a small. He talked about whenever he went, he bought only six what? Suckers, like 6 suckers, or cuttings, like cuttings, or the splits, something like a split. So he went and just bought 6 splits and came with them, and came and put down 6 of them. And they grew very good. Then he talked about now what I want to do. He just started, whenever they grew up, they remove the suckers and the splits. And my father started now adding and adding. Eventually, my father was the one who was now having a very big farm, a very big farm of the kales, and it was so meticulous and fantastic at that kind of the moment. And it was the time that now many people now started understanding, and the schools during that time, they were not having much of the kales people of supplying. My father was the first people of supplying, and my all brothers and sisters, we have learned through the school via the school fees was paid with kales. Up to date, the way of just speaking here, it has been that way up to date. Even Mr. Sigano, who is coming out from right now here, is the one who has come recently from school. We have made it because the last term fee of Mr. Sigano, I was the one who paid it because of my father had now become aged that he cannot go and work. But he was a very good hard worker. And he told me that I want to leave a legacy. And that's why you saw I ventured into agriculture mostly. And I was the one supporting every time to make sure that everything is coming out very fantastic. So to this kind of the caliber of the moment, I talk about it's a way of us to get forward. And I'm encouraged much of the people are talking about, we should do this kind of the way and be strong enough so they can just hold up and make it happen. I understand it's a way of us to get forward. I understand it's a way of us to make it happen, and I appreciate much of the moment that has come, because if it's not of him to be so strong and also stick to and determined and be focused that this is the way we have to make it. We could not be in such kind of a way. And I understand when I was employed, the first employment that whenever I finished my Form 4, I came and I talked about, I became a car. I was washing much of the cars in Nyamboanse. And that's the fact. I started washing cars in Nyamboanse. Then my father saw me one day and I was washing very terribly. And we talked about, and we were having much of the grudge. A person talked about, you have not washed it correct. I'm not paying you. My father was there. He was obsessed. And during that evening, I came home and told me that, oh, Gintu, are you really okay?